learn more about the scientific aspects of this after we hear more about the Voyager mission and the design of it itself, with an interview with Ira Flatow and his guest.
Charlie Colhase is mission design manager. That means you more or less helped design or in charge of designing the whole Voyager mission, right?
Well, yes, since actually December of 1974. So I've been on this program for almost a decade and a half.
So you're just chock full of little stories about the design of Voyager. First of all, how did you choose the trajectory, the path that Voyager was going to take?
Okay. Well, we knew from work done in the field of gravity assist. Now, this is a technique that allows you to fly close to a large planet and have a sort of a slingshot effect, send you on to the next body. We knew there was an opportunity in 1977 when Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune were all lined up in a position to basically fly the Grand Tour. Now, this opportunity only occurs about once every 176 years. But NASA had originally funded, because of funding limitations, the Voyager mission to just Jupiter and Saturn. All right, well, we had this job of narrowing down a lot of trajectory possibilities to the two that were flown. Now, it turned out...
How many possibilities were there?
Well, there were about 10,000.
10,000 of them?
Yes, because we could have launched on any day over a period of about 6 weeks, but we had the energy with the launch vehicle to arrive at let's say, Saturn over a period of several months. Well, Saturn and Jupiter have many moons, and at each different arrival time you pick, these moons, as they orbit at different speeds, are in a different configuration. So every little change in arrival time gives you a different number of moons to fly by. So what we did is we said, well, look, Voyager 1 wants to concentrate on Io, one of Jupiter's moons, and on Titan, one of the moons of Saturn. So we divided up this huge into all of the cases that had good Io flybys at Jupiter and good Titan flybys at Saturn. And so we narrowed down the Voyager 1 cases. But then we had to do Voyager 2, and we said, look, let's also endow it with the capability to fly the Grand Tour. Not only will we give it good flybys at Jupiter and Saturn, we'll make sure it can go on just in case. Now, that just in case is significant. The conditions for allowing Voyager 2 to go on were the following. Voyager 1 had to first be a success at Jupiter and Saturn principally, because the moon Titan was one that Sagan and others had a lot of interest in. And if Voyager 1 was a success, and given that Voyager 2 was arriving 9 months later, if Voyager 2 was in sufficient health to make that long journey, and if the Congress gave us some money, we were going to go ahead. But if Voyager, Saturn, and Titan objectives,
so you would never
we would have retargeted the Voyager 2 spacecraft for a repeat and given up the Grand Tour. So basically anything that would have prevented Voyager 1 from succeeding would have, by a sort of a domino effect, prevented the Grand Tour. As a matter of fact, there was one such thrill
at a close call with Voyager
during
1?
the launch of Voyager 1. Not many people knew about this. I was down in the control center at Cape Canaveral at the time. And of course, you know, we launched on an expendable rocket called the Titan Centaur. The Titan is sort of a massive Air Force rocket that it burns all of its propellant and then falls away, and this high-energy upper stage thrust goes into a parking orbit where it coasts around the Earth for 45 minutes and then ignites again. Well, we heard a lot of commotion on the launch vehicle net and realized that the Titan had not given the Centaur enough velocity. The inertial guidance system kept telling it what to do, basically used 1,200 more pounds of propellant than predicted for a nominal flight.
You could have run out of fuel on it.
Yeah, so here we are coasting around the Earth, wondering if there's enough fuel left in the Centaur's tanks, making all these calculations. Well, it turned out there was enough. We had a normal guidance shutdown, but the Centaur could only have continued running its rocket engines for another 3.5 seconds before all the fuel would have been gone.
3.5 seconds are margin of error.
And so if we had run out of fuel, Voyager 1 wouldn't have made it. Voyager 2 would have had to have recouped those objectives. But everything worked out fine. Been a great success.
That's terrific. That's a great story. You were telling me before that as head of this whole mission design, you have had the opportunity to meet some very interesting people.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, no, it's not all. I mean, you know, there's a lot of hard work here where we stay in for hours and hours, but they're good moments.
Now, I know that Voyager was a very much of Trek 1 had Voyager in it, and that was really a couple of letters short of Voyager. And